Hey folks, this is Russ from Singing Waters with our first video version of Power Talk. We started a number of months ago, Power Talk. We were sending you information by way of email, and we thought, we really want to be a little bit more personal with our friends and partners and our family at Singing Waters. And so we came out with an audio version of Power Talk, a way of just keeping you informed of some of the upcoming events and some of the incredible things that God's been doing in our midst. Well, technology, what a wonderful thing. We thought it'd be even more personal if we actually sent you a video version of Power Talk. Well, we've got some incredible things that are coming up over the next number of months at Singing Waters. One that's very dear to my heart is our Isaiah 61 school, beginning 2010, January 16th. And I thought, they're probably the best way to explain to you how awesome is the Isaiah 61 school, touching lives all over the world, is we'd actually have with us an Isaiah 61 recent graduate. So we've got Samuel Jung with us this morning, and Samuel graduated from our 2009 Isaiah 61 school, so thank you so much for being with us this morning. And Samuel, you were sharing with me how much the Isaiah 61 school really impacted you. You're the son of a pastor. You've had opportunity to travel around the world to see some incredible moves of God, to hear some great mighty men and women of God. But what really caught my attention is how radically impacted you were by the Isaiah School at Singing Waters. So tell us a little bit about it, and just sort of what God did with you and what you gleaned from Isaiah 61.
Yeah, thanks, Russ. Just coming to Isaiah 61 at Singing Waters was really a life-changing thing for me, because I was a youth pastor for the last 6 years before I came. And so I was getting a little burned out from ministry stuff, and was really at a crossroads, just thinking of what to do next. And a friend of mine recommended Singing Waters. And so I came in, and the minute I came in, I could tell that God was doing something in the place, and it just blew me away. Like the first time we sat in class, or the first time we took communion together, just learning about the place and just hearing that there was like 24-hour intercession going on during the school. It really, it was like Psalm 23 for me. It was just like God leading me to a place of stillness, of green pasture, so that He would bring restoration into my soul.
One of the things you shared with me, Samuel, I thought was really important, and having a degree in theology and having grown up as, in a pastor's family, being a youth pastor yourself, you said, Russ, it was like a light went on. It was a revelation of that I knew God was my Father, but when I came to that 9-week school, somehow it moved from here to here, and what I understood by way of information, it's like it became a revelation that led to a transformation. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think one of the most important things that happened at Singing Waters was I was just able to have an isolated time for me and just the Father, and not to be distracted by ministry or doing things. So it was a really good time for me just to have that quiet moment to hear from the Father. And I've preached on the Father's heart. I've taught it to youth and so forth. So I always knew that God was my Father, that I was His Son. Even when I first became a Christian, God revealed Himself to me as a Father. So I felt that I really knew what the Father was about and who He was in identity. And coming here, it just became more of a practical application here. It wasn't just knowing that I was a son, but just understanding how much He loved me and how He desired to father me. I think that was the main thing that I took away from that, was that I'm His son, and that God desires to relate to me as a father and to demonstrate His relationship to me as a father to a son.
Tell me in a couple of minutes a little bit about the grounds there, because there is, and it's really hard to communicate at times over video, but there is a definite geographical anointing on that place. And we've had people that come there and they step out of the car and they begin to prophesy, or they step out of the car and people have been slain in the Spirit, and before they even get to the front doors. Tell me a little bit about what you experienced or what you felt being on that property.
Wow, it's a beautiful place. It was winter time, so there's snow everywhere, and just walking around the grounds, you get a sense that there's just peace all over the place. And just coming back to that Psalm 23, just that sense of rest. Yeah. I think the anointing over Singing Waters has really been about intimacy, knowing the Father's heart, knowing your identity, drawing into that love, and then also finding a place of rest for your spirit and for your soul. And that's what I found, just walking around, just going by the waters, just being, even in the house, it was just this really sense of, I guess a sense of just being at home, and just being at ease, being able to just receive whatever the Father had for us.
And that's such a key thing that you mentioned about the aspect of rest. You know, there's such a pressure within our culture today, both within Christendom and outside within our secular society, to perform and to be approved of. And you know what you said, Samuel, I thank you for it. There's been so many people that have come to and through Singing Waters that have said it was like the shackles and the weight of performance came off me. And in the midst of those moments of peace and rest, I was able to take all the information that I had learned, and that was that revelation of rest now brought a transformation to my heart. So thank you so much. And folks, I appreciate Samuel joining us, having a young person here. I really want to encourage you to consider coming to our 9-week Isaiah 61 school. I want to just close with a couple of thoughts, something that I was reading the other day that, you know, let this serve as an encouragement to you, and it's something that's so pertinent as to who we are as a ministry, and really what are we about at Singing Waters Ministry. It's about on bringing the unfailing love of the Father to the brokenhearted. I was reading the other day in John chapter 1 verse 38. It's a really interesting discussion that takes place between Jesus and a couple of individuals, what I would call curious seekers. One of them that we know to be Andrew, the brother of Simon Peter. And these individuals are following Jesus, and Jesus turns to them and makes an interesting statement. He says, "What do you seek?" It doesn't say, "Who do you seek?" He says, "What do you seek?" Why would he ask what and not who? Well, Jesus in his grace and his wisdom and in all his love understands that initially people will come to him for various reasons. Sometimes people come for blessing. They come for riches. They come for healing. Really, they're coming for what they can get. Who speaks of relationship, but what speaks of provision? And Christ's statement sparks a real interesting question in this soon-to-be disciple, this curious seeker named Andrew. And rather than responding and telling Christ what he wants, he instead asks him where he lives. Where's a transition word? It's a word that gives birth to change, moving us from the what of our own desires and our own agenda to the who of radical relationship. Lord, where do you live? Curious seeker, what do you seek? Lord, where do you live? And this question transcends the simple boundaries of intellectual curiosity, and it really reveals to us a couple of key things. Number one, deep within the hearts of these curious seekers, and deep within the hearts of you and I today, in spite of all our flaws, in spite of all our weaknesses, there is a sincere desire within you, within all of us, to really possess more of God. The second thing to such a question, where do you live? Jesus' answer, come and see, was an invitation, one released both then and now to all of us that have been broken and bruised and wounded by the injustices that life at times seems to throw our way. What an incredible response to them and to you and I. Come and see. Come and be with me. Enter into an incredible relationship. Well, I know initially you come for the what, but once you get past the what, you discover the who. And that's really the message of Singing Waters. Come and experience the unfailing love of the Father, a love that is released to all those that are broken and bruised. Thanks very much. God bless you. See you in January.